Hello everybody and welcome back to the repair bench. I have here another Tempest board set. And this one has this ROM hack on it, a single ROM hack. It's still got the vector ROM. This one's had a lot of work done. All these RAMs have been replaced. I made myself a nice interconnect cable. So that I can set the boards separate from each other. It's easier to work on them. I've got it powered on right now and I'm getting absolutely nothing. Absolutely no signal. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn that off. Power, I checked all of the power. And I'm getting every voltage that I'm supposed to get. I am getting. So that's good. So we got nothing going on at all, no signal at all. So what I need to do first is I'm going to check my CPU control signals and clocks and all that. And I'm going to do a better inspection of this board because I haven't really even looked at it. So I'm going to do that. This thing has had a lot of work done to it, which is always a little concerning. So I'll look at it all. I'll look at all of the work that was done and go through some signals and just the preliminaries. Well, this is the second time that I have done this. If you short 5 volts to ground on accident, it takes out your power transistor, your 2N3055. It opens it up. You can see here, I'll demonstrate this. I get a proper voltage drop from the collector to the base, but I'm supposed to also, this is NPN, so I'm supposed to also have that voltage drop from the emitter to the base, and it's open. So, yeah, I have to, and what I'm doing, since this is the second time that this has happened, where I've had to pull my power supply setup apart, I am going to remotely locate this guy, so that if that ever happens again, I got easy access to replace it. I'm using this socket, TO3 socket, with this guy, and I'm going to mount it like maybe right here or something. So yeah, I'm tired of having to take this thing out. If you do touch and short the 5 volt to ground on a board, it opens this guy up. So, second time I've done that. Alrighty, I will show you when I'm done the new setup with remotely locating this transistor, just in case I ever do that again and short the power rails. It'll be a lot easier to get to this guy rather than having to take the whole thing apart and pull this, unscrew it all and desolder the transistor and everything. So, all right, just wanted to point that out while I'm fixing my setup. All right, here is my fix. You can see I have the wires coming out and they're going right over to here. So now I have this remotely located right here, and I'm hooked up to the 5 volts right now, and I got my 5 volts back. Yep, so now on, if I ever do that again and ground out the 5 volt line and it takes this guy out, I'll have easier access instead of having to take that all out. I'll never have to do that again, which is nice. Now it's just right here. And try not to do that. I'm going to try not to short that anymore, but if I do, there it is. And this is my power setup here. This is rebuilt. This is rebuilt with a new Big Blue, new bridge underneath it, new line filter. So yeah. And this is my Asteroids Deluxe rebuilt AR. So if I'm ever doing an Asteroids or Asteroids Deluxe, I just use this one right here. Yep. Excellent. Always improving. Constant improvement. That is an improvement. So, cool. Alright, let's get back to this Tempest board. And I did look at it. I was looking at this Tempest PCB. Remember, I didn't have anything going on. It's missing a crystal. Crystal's missing. So that'll be first order business. Put a crystal in it. It's not gonna do anything without that. Got some kind of mess going on right here. I don't know what that is. I don't know what's going on there. I don't like that though. And this is the back side of the board, which doesn't look too bad. I don't like how those are folded over. That looks like it's almost shorted. Yeah, the work's not too bad. It don't look like. Needs to be cleaned up. Yeah, there is a lot of work on this board. But at least it doesn't look too bad. So these two sockets will have to be replaced. Those are original Atari sockets. Those will need to be replaced. Yeah, so looks like the pots have all been replaced. These things are on little heat sinks, which is kind of cool. So let's do that. Let's put a crystal in this thing and see what happens. Alright guys, literally all I've done is put this crystal in, 12 megahertz crystal, and here it is. It's looking good. I'll have to hook up my trackball and test controls, test the sound. Uh-oh, it just disappeared. Okay, it just disappeared on me. Now there it is. I don't know if that was my connection to the outputs or what. Interesting. Yeah, so I'm going to do a little bit of messing around with it. I'm going to test sounds and stuff, and I want to put this into test and then kind of blow the screen up, because you can blow it up. See, you can make it a little bit bigger like that. I mean, it looks good. Yeah, it looks really good. I just got to figure out how's our connections on here. I know these have been reflowed, but I might resolder these connectors. I really like this interboard connector I made. I had to use a sander to take off the ramp, to take the ramps off of that side. Yeah, it looks good. Let's see if we have our sounds and stuff. Let me put this guy right here to a ground. Put some let's coin the thing up. And yeah, I need to look and see which pins are, what pins do what. So let me do that. But yeah, it's there. It looks good. Okay. Okay, I've got the math box board flipped over, and I was looking at the pins, and there's about 3 or 4 of them that are definitely bad. This one is terrible. That first one can't really focus good. But every now and again, this thing will flake out and just disappear. And I probed reset, and while it does that, it does not reset. The code still runs in everything. It's just connection on it's just this. I just need to redo the connectors, and it should that should be all this thing needs. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. But I really do not like this, to be honest. It's a mess. But it works. I am going to replace these 2 sockets. I'd like to replace this socket, but I don't know about pulling that thing up out of there. I bet you I can just take it out, kind of dangle it, because that socket is junk. It really needs to be replaced, so that if this thing is to be, you know, solid to where you can turn it on, just leave it on, that really needs to be replaced. Just junk sockets. These old Atari sockets suck. So a little bit of maintenance is what I'm going to do now. Yeah. Well, let me get to that, and we'll get this one all nice and done up. I did test all the sounds. All the sounds work. I can go ahead and, while I've got it turned over, I'll go ahead and trackball up to it. See, here it's kind of flaked out. It's missing some of the stuff on there. It's missing all the moving stuff, and it's got to be, because see, now it comes back. You just mess with this thing a little bit. It's not running. It's just a connection problem. I know that's what it is. It's just this connector. So I'm gonna try to hook this thing up really quick. See if I can accomplish this. Yep. Okay. And let's Start this thing back up. Okay, it's starting. Okay. It's working. Yep. Alrighty. Do a little maintenance on this thing and hopefully that'll be all it needs. Okay, I did do some maintenance on the board set. It's been on for about 10 minutes now, and I haven't seen any flakiness. So what I did was I reflowed all of these. I resoldered these connectors. I recapped the auxiliary board. I replaced the LED because the LED was burnt out. So I replaced that. I replaced the socket underneath this ROM. I replaced these two sockets. And I recapped up here, just the 3 caps. Yeah, so far it's hanging in solid. It's like almost 2 o'clock in the morning right now, so I'm going to do a proper burn-in test on this thing tomorrow. And I'm going to keep a close eye on it too. So far I haven't seen no flakiness, so that's good. Yeah. Good deal. Alrighty, I'm just going to turn it off and leave it set up here on the bench, and tomorrow I'll do a proper burn-in on it. Make sure it's going to be solid. Here's all the junk I pulled out of the board, caps and sockets and LED. Just a little detail. I didn't like that LED was burnt out, so I put a new one in it. All right. Excellent. I'm going to end this video. I think the burn-in will probably be fine. It's looking good. All right, we'll see you on the next one. Okay, you remember how the video on the screen would just kind of disappear and then come back? It's been doing that today. Today's Sunday, and I started doing a burn-in test, and it would flake out and disappear. So I pulled it, took it apart. I got my desoldering gun out, which I'm desoldering the freaking wall. Jesus. First line of defense, I'm going to replace this messed up chip. It's had the leg cut off of it, put back on. I'm just going to replace that right off the get-go. I might replace this 86 too, just because it's nasty, and it's, why not? So I think that's where I'll start. And once I get those two things done, I think I haven't cleaned this board yet. I think I need to clean it. Scrub it good so that I can get good, good connections with my scope if I need, because I'm going to have to get my scope out and find out something's happening when that screen is coming up and then it disappears. It's almost like something loses a clock or something. Something's going on, and I'll have to get the scope out and check around, I think. But Yeah, first line of defense. And this is a flip-flop, and they're often used for clocking things. And I just don't like how that's like that, so I'm going to replace that. I'm going to replace that, and then I'm going to wash the board really good. That's where I'm going to start. Okay, I removed the 174 and the 86 that was right here. It was just a nasty, rusted leg-looking chip. And I put the 86 in my tester, and it says fault. And I resat it in here a couple of times, and it says fault. Now, did I burn it up desoldering it? I don't think so. I've desoldered a lot of chips. The 174 was good. It tested good, but this one tested bad. So who knows? I mean, I might just found a bad chip. It might have went bad when I desoldered it, though. That's a possibility. But I really don't think so, because I was quick about it. So I wasn't like lingering on. And I always desolder. When I desolder chips, I always kind of bounce around from side to side and top to bottom. Yeah, so that'd be cool if, I mean, just pick out the nastiest one and it's bad. That'd be really cool. So, but I'm going to wash this thing now. I'm gonna go wash it because it is filthy dirty. It really is. So I am going to wash it, and then put these two guys back in the board, and yeah, see what happens. Alrighty. I'm doing a little process of elimination here. This is an auxiliary board from another board set, which I know is good. And the problem is on the main logic board, because it's doing the same thing with this board. It just cuts out now and again. Like that. And it's always after the same point. It's always after that thing is zooming out at you, and then it disappears during the high score screen and the Tempest coming up. And after that, after the Tempest comes up and it goes back to this, it comes back. It's always that way. So the problem is on this board somewhere, and it's not from here down. I don't think, because it doesn't reset during that time. The program still runs and everything. There's no resetting going on. So it's to do with the vector video section. Something's funky that I'm going to have to track down. But I eliminated this board. That's not a problem. This is actually one from another repair that I did that I know is good. So I'm going to put the other one back on it. I know that is good. The one that goes with this board I know is good, so I'll put it back on. And I'm going to have to start going through, and I think I'll look at the schematic and find out where to start. I know there's the vector state machine, or the vector generators circuitry and stuff. I'm going to look at all that, try to find out what is going on with this thing, why it cuts out like that. I'll have to figure that out. Other than that, it's fine. And I know this section up here is perfectly fine. As long as it's getting good signals, it works fine. So I don't have to worry about none of that. It's in here, right in this area somewhere. It's something to do with the vector generation and how it just cuts out like that. So we'll figure it out. Alright, well, I am sitting here and I'm probing the enable to this ROM. This vector ROM right here is, I believe, responsible for all of the text and stuff. And the other one is more, I mean, this is just I pulled it out. I pulled this ROM out and it doesn't do any text. And when this thing flakes out is when it goes to the text screen. So what I've been doing is I'm just probing the enable to this ROM. And this is what it looks like when it's operating normally. It's really busy. And right now it's doing the Tempest coming up, and it just kind of flip-flops a little bit, and it's kind of stable. And then it goes to the game screen, and it's really busy. Okay. Now it's getting ready to go to the text screen. Okay, here's the text screen. Now here's the Tempest logo. And back to the game screen. This happens so randomly that it's hard to... I've just been sitting here watching this. And it flaked out one time. And when it flaked out, all I got was a square. Just one square right here. Stable. Instead of this, I just got one square. So it was like this ROM was not being enabled properly. I think it has to do with the enabling of this ROM. Because as long as it's being enabled properly, it doesn't flake out. So I think I am going to start with the enable and go backwards. Yeah, see, it does it so rarely that it's hard to catch. But I only saw it one time. Right now it's doing the Tempest logo, so it just kind of stays static, but it flips back and forth. That's normal. Now it's back on the game screen. It's really busy. And now it's back on the text screen. You can see there's just tons of little pulses and stuff, and it's really busy. Okay. See, what I'll do here is, let me unhook this. Okay. Get rid of that. Let me pull this ROM out of the board. Okay. Now you'll see, this is the text screen. It is now gone because that ROM is out of the board. Now when it gets through with the logo coming up, it'll come back and it'll show the game screen, but all of the text will be missing. See? All of the text is missing. It's something to do with this ROM. The enabling of this ROM is where the problem is. And right here is where it will do that. That's the flake out I'm getting. Okay. Now we're back to this, and runs fine until this doesn't get enabled properly, as I think that's what's going on. So I'm going to start with the enable and work backwards. Okay, this LS139 right here is what activates the vector ROMs. That's vector ROM 0, vector ROM 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up to this guy, and I'm going to monitor this, and hopefully it'll flake out to where I can capture some of the waveforms when it's flaking out, and try to eliminate this as a problem, and then just work backwards. So that's the plan of attack. Well, I'm just sitting here trying to be patient, waiting for this thing to flake out again. I am probing the 139 selector, and it is fine. It works fine. What I'm trying to do is wait for the flake out to happen so I can see the control lines. It happened one time since I've had it hooked up, and the two control lines looked completely different than they looked during normal operation. They were very busy, both of them were. And what I think is going on, I'll show you. This 139 gets its inputs from AM11 and AM12, which comes off of K2 157. I think what's going on is this thing flakes out and allows other stuff through, and that's why I think that's why this goes blank. Oops. Line 4 here is that alpha, or is the ROM with all the text. So when that's low, it's enabled. This one right here is enabled when when that comes up, this one goes enabled. And then when it gets back to the regular game screen, it'll go up, and this one gets a lot busier. So that is ROM 0, which is, let me get my, let me get over to the ROM section. ROM 0 is NP3. That's this guy right here. That's ROM 0. That is the fourth line here. This guy takes over basically only when the zooming happens, and then this guy's like gameplay type stuff and the text and stuff. This guy has the zooming info and stuff like that, I guess. That's ROM 0. But this chip's fine. What I want to look at is K2. Oh, see, it flaked out on me. That's kind of stuck low. That's interesting. It's, see, now it's back, but it had flaked out, and these were stuck high. So it was enabling this when it was not supposed to be, I think, is what was going on. Yeah, it's... For the longest time, it's just, they're both stuck high. You see that? They should never have been stuck high this long. Interesting. I'm suspecting K2. So I want to hook up to that guy right there. That mux that's supplying these two lines. And hopefully I can find another flake out. So let me do that. Let me get off this guy and hook up to this. Alright, I had to stop and think for a minute. This is something that doesn't cause the thing to reset, doesn't cause the watchdog to go off when it flakes out. It's just a loss of video. So I started thinking that it's not in the CPU workings, it's not in the buffers, it's not in the muxes, the address muxing and everything. That's all good. It's in the video, like I said before. So anyway, I've been just kind of... I came up here to this because I have a lot of problems with latches failing. And this is a 273. And right next to it is this E9 is a 20. And I was probing the output. I was just sitting here like this, waiting for it to flake out. This is an output. And it's always pretty consistently this tone. But when it flaked out, I got a do 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 do. It wasn't busy at all. Like this was missing an input. Well, I think that's what this is going to be, is a missing input to a chip that just causes a flake out. And I'm going to suspect, I'm going to see what is inputting this guy right here. I suspect it's possibly a latch that loses its output for a little bit, or something flaky, something really flaky. So I want to look at the schematic and see exactly what this is. E9, what it's involved in, where its inputs are coming from, and see if I can start with that as a reference point, because that output was absolutely different when it flaked out. That means the inputs are different, because it's always consistent. But when it flaked out, it was definitely different. So this is the intermittent type stuff. I wish this chip would just go out completely. Whatever's going on, whatever's wrong with this thing, I wish it would just completely go out. It'd be a lot easier to find. But yeah, I have to sit here and wait for this thing to flake out before I can find anything missing, a missing signal or anything like that. It's pretty tedious. But I'm going to suspect some kind of a latch is probably inputting this. That's where I'm going to start. Okay, after doing some digging on the schematic, I found E9, which is right here. That's the guy I was probing where the output was different when it flaked out. So I'm going to trace back, and there's a row of counters, 161 counters, that I'm going to look at closely. and along with a couple of signals here. Yeah, yeah. So that's what, you know. I'll look at all these gates, all this gating. Just kind of scrutinize this section in the vector timer right here. Make sure that it's all A-okay. That'll be the next thing I look at, is the vector timer section. Okay, I have it kind of narrowed down to the, well, it's a kind of a broad narrow down. I got it. It's the vector timer. The counts stop when the flake out occurs and the screen goes blank. The count just stops, and I got verification from the owner of the boards that that's what would happen. Is periodically it would just, the spot killer would come on and the game would play blind, and then you wait it out and it comes back, and that's exactly what I'm seeing. And I have found that the vector timer, the counters stop counting when the flake out happens, and then they start counting again, the game comes back. So I need to find out what is the fault in the vector timer circuit. Right now I'm on this guy, F8, and I'm probing all of the outputs. I'm probing the carry out, and I'm probing the load pin. So I want to capture that the video going out. I want to see if the load pin is doing anything, because if the load pin quits. Why is this at 9? Is that a 9 too? Or is that, what is that supposed to be? That's 7. It says 9. That's 7. Anyway, if it's not loading, then it won't count. No, it'll count if it's not loading. I should be on this. I'm going to move this to pin 7, because I want to see this pulse enable. Let me hook up to it. I think this is what I want to look at right here, is this enable pulse, because it will count. If the load's not pulsing, it'll still count. So, but if this isn't high, then it won't count. And it's clocked on 12 megahertz. We know that's there. I don't have to even worry about that. I just got to follow this chain back. It's going to probably be back this way somewhere. And we'll find it. We'll figure out what's going on. It could be one of these counters. You know, earlier in the line, the carryout just kind of flakes out. It's just weird that it comes and goes. But yeah, I'm gonna probe around in this area. Okay, I'm back here at the game, and I'm on E8 or F8 counter. And this is what it looks like. The top 4 are the least significant to most significant counts. This line right here, this is the carry bit, and this is the enable pulse. So I just basically got to sit here and wait. And I think what we're going to see, there, it went away. It is gone now. There's no enable pulse. See, it's done its flake out, and the enable pulse is gone. So this is actually working right. This enable pulse, I'm going to move back to that. And that comes from an LS08 at A4. So I'm going to move to the LS08 at A4, and I'm going to probe that. See, now it's back, see? It comes back. Now it's back to doing its counting and putting out the carry bit and everything, and it's all good. I want to look at A4, which is making this signal right here. Okay, I'm going to hook up to that. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm on A4 here, which is that AND gate. I'm on pins 9 and 10 out to 8, and I'm just letting it run free. And I'm just going to wait until it flakes out and see, and then I think I'll freeze this when it flakes out. Yeah, it didn't flake out that time. I want to freeze it and then just look at it and see if this thing quits working or one of the inputs drops out. Something weird's going on here. These two signals, pins 10 and pins 9, are basically two carryout bits, two carry bits from these vector timer counters. It's two carry bits that are ANDed that enables another one of the. It gives an enable pulse to one of the other counters. And it's still going good. It's still running. Just got to sit here and hope it flakes out so that I can see what's going on. It's just a waiting game. It just doesn't want to cooperate. As I was on pin 7 of F8, the enable pulse line went dead. This line is the enable pulse line for F8. And it went dead. So one of these signals has to drop out. Because if you look at the schematic, this is what I'm probing right here. This guy right here, 9 and 10 out to 8. And its two inputs are from the carry of this counter and the carry of this guy. It's two carry bits, and that dropped out. So that means that one of them dropped out. Had to have. And I need to know which one dropped out. And is it dropping out because it's failing, or is it dropping out because what's driving it is failing? So I just have to sit here and wait and find out which one of these quits. So I'm going to continue to just wait and watch this thing. And I'll let you know when I find something out. Whenever this thing flakes out again and I find out which one of these signals is dying out, I'll come back and let you know. Okay, I am kind of keeping an eye on the game, making sure I don't miss it flaking out. But I'm kind of looking at this this part of the schematic here. This is the beginning of the vector timer counters here. Kind of looking at how it works. And what it does here, this is the first in the chain. This guy right here. And when this thing goes high and this goes low, it looks like it basically loads a value of E into this. And then when it counts once, it goes to F and sends a carry out. So it's like a one count and carry. And then this guy, the carry, enables that. The carry bit enables this one, and this is pulled high. So when it's enabled, this is ready to send a value of F over. So it's a one count carry. So it's just kind of looks like a chain, basically. And what I believe I've seen, is that when the video goes out, this just catastrophically fails. So I'm leaning towards one of these signals, this counter, vector counter, or whatever, vector counter. That could be. I'm leaning towards it being one of these signals. It's either not being loaded or it's not being enabled from the get-go. So while that thing's running, I'm going to kind of look around at these and see where these come from. This vector counter and then counter. It's something in there. That's the problem, is one of these signals comes and goes, because these things just completely shut down, it looks like, these counters. I would like for this thing to flake out while I'm probing this guy right here, because I want to see if both of these signals completely drop out. As if both of these drop out, like if this is still pulsing but this isn't, but this carry out is gone, well, that means that it's here and not here. You know what I mean? So it'd be nice to actually catch this thing. There it goes. It died. It died, and both of these, everything's out. Everything went away. So 9 and 10 died. And those are both carry bits. Now it's back. Okay, those are both carry bits. That was this bit and this bit. So it's before this, it's back here. Because this guy died. So now what I'm going to probe is I'm going to probe the outputs of this, and I'm going to probe the output of that. So I'm going to probe pin 4 of B5 and pin 8 of B9. And I'm going to see next time it flakes out which one of these is still moving and which one's dead. Alright, let me hook up to those two lines so that I can see which one of these goes away. Okay, so now I've got two bits that I'm going to be looking at, and it's on C8, pin 7 and pin 9. So what I'm looking at is this guy right here. I'm looking at the load line, and I'm looking at the enable pulse, the enable. I'm looking at these two signals being ORed together, and I'm looking at these two signals being NORed together. That's what I'm looking at. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on, and hopefully it doesn't take forever for this thing to flake out. Okay, we're moving. And these guys are going. Okay. We got our signals going on. Bunch of quick pulses. Okay. And I just gotta sit here and wait. I'll give it one more shot at the zoom screen, and if it doesn't flake out this time, I'm gonna go ahead and stop filming and just sit here and kind of wait, watch. It's a waiting game. Now, I'll keep watching, and I'll let you know. Okay, it did its little flake out, and I stopped the screen on what it was doing. Pin 7 was low, pin 8 was high, so they both stopped. They both stopped. So I'm kind of looking at the schematic here. They both stopped. That means these were both 0, these were both 0, because remember pin 7 was low. Yeah, pin 7 was low, and that's an OR, so 0 and 0, well, that'll be 0. So those were both 0. These were both 0 because this one was a 1, and that's a NOR. 0, 0 is a 1. Okay. What is common? was not expecting both of them to totally zero out. So there's got to be something in common that's causing these signals to flake. Well, A8 makes both of these, counter and vector counter. A8 here, this 109 is responsible for those two signals. Okay, what about normal and scale? Scale comes from this guy. Which is basically between this and what is up here? C6. Okay. Now what do we got up here? All right. Here's normal. Okay. Here's scale counter and vector counter, V counter. Going through this 5 input OR, which is a clear for this 74. The 74 outputs the norm signal. Alright, I'm going to have to look at this stuff a little bit better, kind of study this and try to find out what would make those both die. So let me go over this, look at this really good, so I can get a better understanding of what is actually going on. I'm just kind of speaking out loud, thinking out loud right now, and I might not be making any sense. So let me go ahead and take a look at it, and I'll come back when I have a better understanding of what this is all about. Okay. I scrolled the schematic over just a little bit from where I was. I'll show you. I was over here looking at this business. Here's the counter and the op stuff, whatever this is. There's the vector, and here's the counters. Okay. I got, this goes slow. There's those two signals, the vector and counter, vector counter, whatever. I just kind of scrolled over here and I saw vector halt latch. Okay. And what was going on? What was going on was at a specific time, the vectors would cut out. It would just cut out, and it was always the same time. It was never random. It was always after either a gameplay screen or a zoom screen, and then it goes back to the high score table. It was always 100% of the time when it went to the high score table. So I scrolled over here thinking about that, because this has been pretty irritating as to why this is just cutting out. Other than that cutout, the game runs fine. It runs perfect. But it would flake out and cut out. So I got over here to this vector halt latch, and I seen this. From address decoder. And I immediately thought ROM. Immediately. Software. Software contains data that the CPU can use, can get, and that data might be to output a certain address or something like that. And then that can work these lines. It can enable these lines and stuff by that. So I saw this, and I immediately thought about the software and that stupid ROM hack that's on the board. I have now had this thing on for an hour. And I've sat here the whole entire time watching it. I did away with that stupid ROM hack, and I burnt a proper set of Tempest ROMs. And it does not flake out anymore. It's run perfect for a whole hour. No cutouts. There was a gap in that code. And that was what was causing the cutout to the vector timer, the vector timer up here. There was just something missing in that ROM code, in that hack. Yeah, but now it's solid now. No flakeouts. And I've actually sat here the whole hour watching this thing. So yeah. I am going to call this thing good. I'm going to let it run for 2 more hours. So what did I do to this? Well, I burnt ROMs, replaced the ROM set, the whole entire ROM set, minus the 2 vector ROMs. I replaced this guy and this guy, those 2 chips. And remember, this one tested bad in my reader. So that was, I don't know if it was bad or if it went bad when I removed it. I don't know. I recapped up here, I recapped this board, and I put an LED in it. And you know what I want to do? I do want to do one, find a little trackball test, little input-output test. So let me go ahead and hook the trackball up, hook up something to work the buttons, and do that. Okay, I'm back. I got my trackball hooked up, and I got a lead to ground for testing some sounds and whatnot. So let's go ahead and coin up. Okay. And start. Okay, we're at the start screen. I'm going to start easy. It's looking good. Looking really good. Oh. Let's try some shooting. Okay, well, it's working. It is working. All right. I'm going to call this one good. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.